I'd like to call this meeting of March 5th to order. I can introduce the board. Rich Thompson, myself, John O'Brien, Jeannie Meredith, Phil Rando, and I believe you guys have met the two engineers.
Right.
In the corner, Nancy Stedard, clerk. So this is a public hearing, so I will ask you when you want to speak to come to the podium, give your name, address, and whatever you need to discuss, go right ahead. To the board, I'm looking for approval of the last meeting, which was January 15th. To approve the minutes. Has everyone read them?
So moved.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Oh, you weren't here, Phil?
I abstain.
Okay, sorry. One abstain, 3-0. So I have one with one abstain. Chairman's corner. This is the newest thing we have, Nancy? There's nothing else has come in?
No.
Just the recall of Bowler Engineering? Move on to the consulting engineers report. Kevin Todd.
We've been keeping track of the ongoing projects. Berthold Ave, nothing is updated or changed on that. 180 Main Street, which is the Chase Bank project, the construction is in progress. They did submit some changes to us. We're reviewing them. So far, they don't appear to be significant. We'll be reporting back to the board. I do like the idea of developers letting us know as they're changing things, and then kind of makes everything run a little smoothly. So if it does not appear to be too big of a deal, we'll be reporting to the board in the next meeting about it, and we'll be requesting the board to approve it as a de minimis change.
So I believe that they will be here at the next meeting.
Okay,
I asked the engineer to come in.
okay.
He's got some changes that they didn't want to do that was proposed by Jeannie for safety purposes on the bollards
Okay,
as one of them. Now they want to do.
okay.
So,
So maybe I just let them do it there, but we'd have comments, because
Okay.
if developers are coming to us to say, we need to kind of move some stuff around.
I think technically we have to make a vote too to determine that it's a minor
Right.
or a
Or
major.
minor,
And
major
if it's
change.
minor, then it's not a big deal.
Right. So I guess I'd like to get that process going in general.
So are these the only changes that are in this packet tonight?
Yes, there's
The
three.
ballots and
The one related to the water layout.
I didn't see that.
I would just ask that, the board would let us along, more so with the plumbing and special services. Kind of look at that over the next couple weeks, and
so the only thing I
So one
believe that
about earth and the ball.
the board has asked for is that they give us a construction plan on how they're going to close that roadway off to do that, if they're still going down the roadway.
currently they're only changing how it comes into the building. There was some restrooms at the top and a utility room, so,
That's you guys in plumbing.
yeah, so.
They were talking about moving some of the water lines outside of the building. They came to us and just said, hey, what do we need to do if we need to make changes, and we're trying to make sure.
We'll let them present it to the board and then,
And we'll
actually
be presenting our
do-
opinion at the next meeting too.
okay.
But I agree with Todd, I think it's great to see them come forward with a change request, and, the site has looked good every time I've went by, and, so glad to see that.
So in the end,
The only thing that I noticed is they have a lot of structures, but I don't see any of the drainage pipe on site. Have
They
they
haven't done that work yet,
haven't done any of that.
no.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chair, they're coming in at our next meeting?
They'll be here at the next meeting, yes.
Okay, so we'll address those changes then, okay.
But, I mean, part of it is to make sure the board knows that they are communicating with us and they are reaching out.
That's great.
They're preemptively trying to take care of things. Okay. The trunk space is proceeding on. The Continental, nothing has changed on that site. Rivercrest, nothing has changed on that site. Raising Cane's.
We have called Riverside Inn, Nancy. He's way behind his time limit that we gave him, and
I did.
we were kind enough to advance him some of his money on his holdback. So we gotta know what's going on.
He did update us that he, again, plans to do that work in the spring.
Okay. Just wanna put it on
Fair
record,
enough,
that's all.
yeah.
Go ahead, sorry, Todd.
No worries. Okay. Kowloon's, we're waiting on a plan revision. Okay, so 860 Broadway. Right now, we've got the stormwater bylaw permit, that's not this board, but just to kind of keep you guys up to date on what's going on with that project.
Did you get a timeline from Arcadis?
They actually responded back that they need to ensure the observation ports are clear. We forwarded that to Rick Savo. I believe he got back to me towards the end of today. It should be, I believe they said they can get it done within 2 weeks, but we're working through the progress. And that's moving things forward. And once they do the review, then it'd be follow-up from the review. So it'd be kind of 2 weeks, depending on how well the first review goes.
Mhm.
Okay, so, we've kind of sat down and gone over the plans. 860 is, I guess, first question, I guess I'm asking the board is, how do they officially come in and say they want to close out the project with the planning board? Do they need to come to the board? Do they just submit a request? I want to direct them correctly.
So currently, right now, you guys are going back and forth
Yep.
with different things, you're
And
saying
I've made
there
a
are
list.
issues in there, and
Yep.
they're kind of checking them off, and you guys are working that out together?
Yep, and part of that is I made a list that I guess we're going to request some board input on if there's things that they feel are minor, then let's just check them off now, versus if the things are major, I want to communicate that information correctly to the.
So the board,
Go ahead.
excuse me for saying it, on any project, the board has to make that determination, whether they're minor or major, so they'd have to present it to the board.
Okay,
So whatever you guys come up with, you can present to the board. I sustain from that meeting or that discussion.
So what I would do is, just because I know this has been going on for a
Yep.
long time, and they're kind of getting
Yep,
tight
antsy.
for money, and we don't want to keep making them bring all their engineers and all their architects in. I would say keep checking, going through the list and checking things off, and when you get to a point where you feel like it's getting close, then bring it to the board and let us know if there's anything that hasn't been able to be resolved, but if they've been resolved, I think, like what we've done with other ones, is we would take a vote if we're all in agreement that they're at that point and we're satisfied, and then we could take a vote here without bringing everybody in, and then just sign the building commissioner's sign off that he has, that everybody has, because we've signed that in the past without making everybody come back. But obviously, if we get to a point where we have things that aren't resolved and we don't feel like we can resolve them, or if there's a change that the board determines is a major, then we would bring them back in, because then it would be, you know.
so my intention, I've made a list that's been sent over to Rick Salvo. My intention would be, one of us would be updating the board at every upcoming meeting on how that's progressing, to try and make sure things are moving and we're trying to get things resolved.
Has the list you have right now gone out to the entire board?
I know, let me look, I actually.
Yeah, it was attached,
You've
Oh, yeah,
seen
it was
You've
actually
seen it.
attached to the engineer's report today.
No, I know, but I'm just asking if
It
you've
was
seen it.
attached to the engineer's report that we sent out yesterday.
Okay.
And that was an attempt to try and gather things in and make it so we can check stuff off, sort of thing.
Can I be heard on 860, since you're talking about this at a public hearing?
Sir, we're just going over all the projects that we have going at the time. And you are, sir?
My name is Sean McCormick, I'm the attorney for the owners of the
Okay,
860
this is just
project.
general business that we're talking about at this time? So we're.
He's talking about more about the process of trying to get
We're
them to
trying to
the
get-
occupancy.
The board is trying to get you guys
Since I have
closed
a
up.
building permit here, I was expecting a signature on it tonight, because there are no outstanding issues.
Well, that would be up to this board to determine, sir. So, and they're not on the agenda this evening. We've asked Mr. Salvo, the board has asked Mr. Salvo to come back and explain where they're at. But again,
We haven't-
Submitted
Well, the
copious
engineers have
amounts of
talked to him.
information to the engineering department and to the planning board to get this closed out. We've been coming in here for months now. So, my expectation was that tonight was the night. I was instructed to bring the building permit here to get a signature.
Who instructed you to do that? I don't, that's news to me because they're not on the agenda tonight.
So, this has been going on since August, since late August. We've been trying to close out this permit.
They haven't come to you and asked for an occupancy permit since then, have they? Have you guys talked about that? I mean, that, to me, I'm just going by what I've heard from, speaking to the building commissioner, that they've just been ready recently. And then they brought the documents in, the big binders in maybe, 6 weeks ago?
So
And you
I-
guys have been going
We
through.
just got an
those?
as-built revision last week.
Yeah.
I actually specifically asked Rick Salvo before Christmas. I had heard a rumor that that 860 wanted to close out, and I said, "What's the timeline on that?" Because we've got a whole bunch of open items. And he had actually said that he planned to do it before the end of the new year, but we didn't get any updates. So it hasn't been since August.
And we do require red lines for the as-built.
Which have been submitted.
When?
Did they follow the red line document that the
The
board got?
guidance document that was promulgated after this permitting is not binding on this project, guys.
Well, they just submitted a revised as-built last week, and there's an open letter to the project team that, but that's why we were asking the procedure, if you would apply to come to this meeting.
But it's a problem that you're holding up the certificate of occupancy for an as-of-right project, and you don't have a procedure for closing this out.
We do.
The board has no enforcement authority.
The procedure is that they bring an as-built with the red line so we can compare what changes, what was the approved plan to the final product, that's the as-built. And if there's any changes, we ask that they put in red line, and that is required for the planning board to sign off, the final sign off for the planning board, so then the building inspector can issue the occupancy permit. In my understanding was that they were being held up on the as-built. So it's really not fair to say that you've been waiting since August,
The as-built-
because there were things that were outstanding.
The red line was submitted 2 weeks ago, maybe? I submitted a letter last week saying that now that the red line has been submitted, we'd like our signatures, and if not, we'll come in at the next meeting, we'll be prepared to talk about it.
Right, so my understanding is that's what's going on right now. They got the as-bills, and they've been speaking with the architect and going back and forth to check off little things that are different. Like,
And the
for instance,
binders.
there's 10 parking spaces that are on the original plan that aren't on here. So now we just need to know what was built. Now I'm being told that storage units were built in place of that. We have no knowledge of that. That wasn't a change. Underground storage.
I don't know that.
Did you, okay.
So anyway, so
Sure.
they're just ironing out, we're close, we're close, and I understand your frustration, I agree. We had a meeting on Tuesday, and we said this needs to be wrapped up, and we need to put all our focus, not my focus, but everybody else's focus on closing this up. So I do understand, I don't know who told you to come tonight and get, it was gonna be signed tonight, because they're in communication,
And
and
we had
they're,
actually sent an update with a list to Rick Salvo. I printed off the email and we passed it to the agenda today. On Friday, before whatever you sent was sent, we had already reached out to Rick saying, hey, this is a list of items that we believe that needs to be closed out. And we're actively trying to get it closed out. You guys,
we're very close.
And that was for the planning board conditions, like the 35 planning board conditions. the binder.
Yeah, I'm aware that, you know, it is not okay to hold up occupancy based on conditions that are not preconditions to occupancy, that are ongoing conditions, stuff like landscaping.
No, we understand that, sir,
Snow
we do.
removal, those are
Yeah.
ongoing
Yeah,
obligations.
it's not gonna be held up for any of that.
Okay.
But there's just a couple little things like the parking spaces, they just come up with
Every month, it's a
it.
couple little things, and the next step is litigation. The next step is we're going to court for this. So, you know, it's not okay to keep saying, look, you gotta come back next month, you gotta come back next month. And that's the problem, you know, the zoning act has constructive deadline things for applications that are within the planning board control. This is totally outside your statutory authority. And that's why there's no, we submitted our application, we're entitled to an answer in 30 days, or whatever it is. Which signifies a problem with the process. We cannot keep going indefinitely like this. And if we have to go ask the land court, you know, what do we do in this situation where the planning board just refuses to issue a certificate of occupancy? I mean, I think we're gonna have to do that, because we cannot keep going month to month. I think I was here in November getting the temporary certificate for the second building, and at that point we said, look, we're coming back in December for the final. So it has at least been since then. I've seen the emails. I mean, there were thousands of pages that we submitted in January, going through every single condition. It's gotta end.
How does
So,
on your list, is there
Can I
anything
just
that's?
interrupt if I may?
Because I haven't,
I
sir,
would
I
say
haven't seen the,
Respectfully,
So,
you are recused from this project, sir.
I'm not talking about the project, I'm talking about the meeting that's at hand now. We had no indication that you were coming tonight.
That's incorrect.
Nancy, do you have any indication that the 860 was coming for tonight's meeting? None. So who put it on the agenda?
Was my letter not received?
The letter was received and you emailed the letter.
I'm talking our general process, sir. No, I'm not talking about 860. I'm talking our general process is to require that all conditions of the plan have been met before there's a final closeout. So it's again, these guys are working on it.
Sir, you are a direct abutter of this site. It is not appropriate for you to be sitting.
Sir, I didn't say anything about 860. I'm talking about our general
So-
conditions, sir.
This is,
Okay,
the
we're gonna
department,
continue with the meeting, please.
well, I would just say, as the department that has sent these review comments out of the binder, I'm merely pointing out discrepancies between the planning board agreement and what's been provided, or the total count of things. I'm not here to say what can and can't hold things up, but I was expecting a response from the design team and the project team to say, you know, why certain things changed along the way. And what the board is allowed to do is beyond my expertise. I'm just pointing out a few discrepancies and, you know, we had not seen you on the agenda, so that's why Todd had brought up, hey, are they coming to a meeting? And
I can't get on the agenda because I don't have an application. My application's been approved, right? This is, the certificate of occupancy, the authority for that is with the building commission. The planning board has inserted itself into that process and is withholding its approval from the building commissioner's office in a way that is totally
Sir, if I can correct you on one
inconsistent.
thing. All our plans, and by town bylaws, this board is required to get a full set of as-bills as to what's been built before the building inspector can issue a permit. Not talking about your project, I'm talking about any project within this town. So that's what we have. Our rules have been approved by the Attorney General's office, voted on by town meeting, and that's one of the conditions that we have, is to approve the as-built. That's all I'm saying. So when they have the as-built approved, then we're getting bits and information as they go. So,
it's very close. We got a new revision last week.
is there anything outstanding that you see that falls under our purview on these as-bills that would prevent us from signing off on it?
I'm,
I know I spoke to the building commissioner and all the
So
other
the
departments
department,
are
so
there.
so I guess I'm struggling a little bit with that. So what we did was we took the order of conditions and we went through it. And now, and so like.
But he is right to one degree, we can't hold up an occupancy on some, because some of those conditions are like in perpetuity, or in the spring and in the fall, we can't hold up occupancy for all those things, we can hold them to, like, raise,
So, and then, and I guess we're trying to figure that out, so we sent this email out on Friday. Less than a week ago. We didn't get any response. Internally, we've definitely talked about this, and we're trying to figure it out, and process it. I don't have a firm grasp of what I guess I assumed that the order of conditions was a legal document, and then everything in there was
It is.
enforceable. So if the order of conditions says it's supposed to have so many parking spots, I assume that the plan is supposed to have that many parking spots. Now, if that's not something the board can enforce or not, I guess I'm now being told that's not something the board enforces.
Well, for instance, that's one thing, like,
Who told you
that's a
that?
change.
Well, I guess we're trying to figure this out.
Well, they have the minimum, but the number was just different, so.
So if they're changing from what was the approved plan and from the order of conditions, I'm assuming your client would be, or I'm assuming, because I can't talk to them because it's not appropriate, I'm assuming they would have said, hey, we changed the number of parking spots, this is why, this is what happened.
Right. Did you ask that
and-
question? No, you guys just determined, you just discovered.
Well, so I
parking.
sent a list of items saying, hey, these are all questions, can you answer them?
And their engineer has that?
And we were
Yeah,
hoping to
last
pass that
Friday
info.
before the letter was sent.
I need to close this meeting. We
Okay.
have, this is a public hearing, we have people that are due and they're past their time right now.
Yep.
You wanna take it up, you wanna hang in there, Chairman McCormick? I just
Take
need
it
to
up
move
At the
on.
end of the night,
Excuse me?
to take it up at the end of the night?
Well, I have a 7:15 that's on a public hearing, that's why I need to move on to the 7:15 meeting.
No, I understand, was the offer that.
I don't know where it's gonna
New
go.
business?
I removed myself from this process a long time ago. I'm just trying to tell you what our general process is on the closeout. So,
Proceed with your hearing.
so that's now past the time of the 7:15 public hearing.
And you're done.
Is there someone there to represent 24 Broadway site plan review, permit?
Good evening. My name is Ian Ainsley. I'm an engineer from Brem. I'm here with Yash Patel of V&V Saugus Realty. He is the applicant. And I'm here with Jonathan Stark-Sachs of Johnson & Bornstein. He is the attorney for the project. So the project that we're talking about, it's 24 Broadway. It's at the north part of town. It's on the Linfield line. It's in the B2 zoning district in the Business Highway Sustainable District overlay. Right now, the existing site has a house that was removed to the foundation about 4 or 5 years ago. So there used to be a single-family house there that was removed. There's a driveway curb cut that spans the abutting property and our property. It's kind of one continuous curb cut between the two. There's wetlands in the rear of the site. So if you look at the plan in the far back corner, there's a wetland at the very, very back there. And there's also a Lynn water pipe with an easement that goes through the corner of the property as well. What we're proposing to do is to construct a 3,000 square foot commercial building. The use would be for cannabis retail, and we've been to the select board and received a special permit for that use. In order to do that, we would put in a new two-way curb cut. If you're looking at the plan, it would be on the left side of the property or the north side. So we're proposing to put that in. We have two-way travel throughout the site, so it's a 24-foot wide access way all the way through, so cars can back up and travel in both directions. We're proposing to have shared parking with 30 Broadway. The property that's directly abutting it to the south. That's the Army Barracks
Can I
store.
ask a question? Bob?
Sure. Yep.
Do you have a letter from the abutting property that this can be done?
We don't, but the property owner is here tonight,
Okay.
so he could speak to that. And I expect as we kind of go through this process, hopefully we'll get something in writing. So we have sufficient parking on our site alone. It's, I think, 1 per 300 square feet for this use, so that there'll be 10 parking spaces required. We have 24 on site. As we've kind of developed this project and talked to our neighbor, there was an interest in kind of creating interconnectivity between the two properties and, sharing parking and making it so customers can get from one property to the other easily. So that's why we've sort of developed this cross-parking, cross-access kind of flow that we have through the site. We've designed the property to stay away from that Lynn water pipe as much as we can. So we have the building outside of that. We have any utilities outside of that. We have some paving on top, so there's some parking spaces and travel ways that are on top of that. We expect to be talking to Lynn Water and kind of showing this to them and making sure they're okay with it. The building will be served by municipal water and municipal sewer. There's a water and sewer pipe out there now for the house, so we're hoping that we could reuse those pipes as they are now. We need to verify the sizing and what condition they're in, but the hope is to reuse those pipes. We're going to be putting in a stormwater system, so if you look behind the building, there's an underground chamber system. That's been designed to meet the Massachusetts stormwater standards. We're below the town's threshold of an acre for the stormwater permit, so we've not applied for a stormwater permit because I think we're about half an acre of disturbance. But we've designed that to meet the state requirements. Just to kind of summarize what other permits we need and which ones we've gotten. So I mentioned we've been to the select board. We got a special permit for the use. We've been to the zoning board, and they voted to grant several variances. The lot is undersized for the business highway overlay, so it's sized correctly for the old B2 zone.
If I may interrupt you.
Sure.
According to our map, that doesn't fall in the business highway district. I'm just bringing it to your attention. This is the zoning
Has the map
that-
changed recently?
I don't know how old it is, but there's a
Well, let me
question I
take a
had for
look.
the engineers earlier. This is your lot here?
It is.
It stops at the gentleman's building right here. So you're in B2.
See that kind of pointy thing there?
This right here?
Yeah, the red pointed thing? That's our site in the red.
Right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So-
That's in, according to the zoning map, is in B2.
B2.
Doesn't fall under business highway sustainable. Not that it makes a difference.
Sure.
But I'm just
No, it's good
for
to know.
clarification.
I thought I had seen that we were online.
This
So-
is the latest map that we have. so-
Okay, well, either way, we'll look into it.
No, it's just,
Yeah, it's good to know.
So my understanding is the inspectional services, the building inspector is a zoning enforcement agent. So whatever, he'd be able to clarify that.
yeah, that's what I'm just saying.
I'm trying to show a path forward.
Yep.
So they know who to talk to, and if they get something from him, we would know, they would know,
Yep.
everybody kind of, yeah. So we have a question, we have an answer.
I'm just,
Yep.
I was concerned because it's on the
No, I
map.
appreciate you bringing it up.
Yeah.
We've operated this whole time thinking we were in it. So we'll figure that out.
Continue, sorry.
So zoning variances, we got relief from the lot area, the frontage, and the side setback, as well as setback for we're gonna have a freestanding sign for the business. We got a setback variance for that as well. Permits that we still need to get. So I mentioned there's a wetland in the back. We need to go to conservation. We applied this week. We're gonna be going to I think it's March 18th hearing, so we'll be going to them shortly. We also need approval from Mass DOT for the driveway that we're putting in, and potentially, depending on the utility work needed, we may need a permit from them to, excavate and put in those pipes in the right-of-way of Route 1. We need to discuss this, like I said, with Lynn Water, so that's another thing that we'll be going through. And then the water pipe that's out on Route 1, that is owned by the Massachusetts is it
MWRA?
Region, yeah, MWRA. So we need to get an approval for either connecting to that or just doing work near it in general.
So the old house wasn't on the MWRA?
It was.
It was?
If we have to change the pipe size, or if we're changing the use, I don't know if that would trigger anything with them or not, but at the very least, we need to get a permit for doing work in the vicinity. Some history of the project, or this property. Prior to V&V's involvement, the prior property owner, I would say around 2020, applied for permits for a 5,000 square foot commercial building. It was for a flooring company.
Yes.
And a showroom. That went through, I think, planning, conservation, Mass DOT. Our plans and
Very
our,
lengthy list of conditions.
our
Which
plans.
was only gonna be a little, like, what, 2,000, 20?
Yeah, ours is 3,000, so it's
3,000.
smaller than that one. But that got site plan approval, it got conservation approval. We've tried to sort of follow that plan and their path of getting permits. We've tried to do the same thing, kind of keep the building in the same part of the site. So we've tried to use that as an example for our project. And then the last thing I'll say is when we were approved by the select board for the special permit, they included a condition. There was a lot of talk about the access and the curb cut in the front. That was just a point of concern for some of the selectmen. So they conditioned the select board, or the select permit, the special permit, to require peer review and to have the appropriate departments in peer review look at that access and make sure that it's safe and up to engineering standards and stuff like that. So I just thought I would mention it so that the board is aware. That's really the gist of the project. I'm happy to get into details.
Do you have a turnaround radius for the fire department?
I haven't done one yet.
Okay. It's gonna be one of the requirements.
Yep, happy to do it.
Is this still in land court?
No, we were out of land court. So we went to land court for the special permit from the select board. I believe they remanded it back to the select board, and then they voted to grant it. And then I would say we were about to go back to land court over the zoning variances, and then we wound up settling with the zoning board.
Okay.
And then they voted to grant the variances. So as of now, we're totally out of.
The zoning case at the land court was closed out. Last week, the zoning board did vote to grant the variances. However, we're waiting on the written decision and the appeal period to run to finalize those variances. But I've been in communication with the zoning clerk, and those should be forthcoming.
So that would help this board on that decision,
Yeah,
so that we just don't get into it down the road.
sure. I guess I'll add, we're expecting, like I said, to go to conservation, to go to Mass DOT. So our hope is to kind of work with each board, each entity, kind of make revisions as we go, so that at the end, everybody is approving, hopefully, the same plan, the same layout, now that we've incorporated everything from every board.
So this board normally gets that information, because if it involves site work, that's what we're in charge of. We'd like to know what their decision is before we can go forward.
Sure.
The other thing that we would like to do, and we will take a vote tonight, is for peer review, because there is a stormwater treatment system, there is wetlands. The DOT is involved in this. It's a little lot, but there's a lot of configuration.
Sure.
And the last time around, I don't remember how many conditions we put on the lot. So by doing all this, maybe we can get rid of some of those conditions.
Sure. We expected this to
Yeah.
go to peer review either way, so
Okay.
okay with that.
Mr. Baldwin?
How long is the appeal process for the select board? Because the decision can't be finalized until the appeal's done, correct?
Is it 21 days?
So on the 21st day,
Okay.
the decision becomes final.
So it's kind of within a month sort of thing, okay.
Yeah, so
I
depending
know
on.
it's been approved. We
Oh,
don't-
no, I do too, it just,
Yeah.
if we're following dotting Ts and crossing Is,
But we don't have to wait till we see that document to start this
No, all right.
process.
No, I totally
Yeah,
agree with you.
Do peer review and keep the ball, balls can be rolling simultaneously.
That's a hope.
Well, they actually come in very nicely and met with us, and we were kind of trying to go over a list of, so we were meeting them not just as planning board, but as a town engineer, to kind of go over what they needed to do or things that we thought they were gonna be required. So I'm trying to keep an eye on kind of all the balls. And that's part of why they're here now, is to try and get
Yep.
all of them going.
Yep. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't have any
Board members?
questions.
So I guess you had talked about stormwater, I want to just throw out something for the board to consider. They are gonna be going through, in the past, before the current stormwater laws, most stormwater that was reviewed through conservation. And this site would be going to conservation. If the board wanted me to, I could keep a check on it and make sure that it was getting, that their stormwater system was being peer reviewed by conservation. And then they wouldn't be required to, they wouldn't be having the same peer review done twice.
Okay, so conservation is gonna hire a peer
Well,
review?
I can confirm that, they haven't gone to the conservation yet,
Okay,
but I can confirm that and report back to the board.
yeah,
So if you were,
yes, I would appreciate it, I don't want
Yeah.
to have any applicant pay twice.
yeah, so I was gonna throw that out there, and I can report back to the board. That'll keep things going, but also not make them have to pay peer review for the same thing twice. And if they're submitting the report to the Conservation Commission, I'm sure they'd be happy to submit it to us too. And if they're set with the Conservation Commission, they should be pretty much all set for the stormwater part.
Okay,
Because their stormwater system is within the buffer zone. So I feel it's very, very likely that they'd be required to do a review of that.
Yeah, they may need to file a notice of intent with
Yeah, they're
conservation.
starting that, they're,
We filed it yesterday,
Oh, you
so
already filed the notice
yeah,
of intent? Okay.
after meeting with us, they were going up to the town hall
Okay.
to talk to leave one with Becky.
make it a productive trip.
Have you requested the documents from them to see what I mean, it could be different now because there's different people, so it's not that it would be.
What do you mean by,
The Conservation Commissioner is different. I'm saying,
Oh, okay.
did you review the list of conditions that were put on it when it was approved the first time?
yeah, we looked at the original permits,
Okay.
yep, yep.
I'm just, that might give you an
Appreciate
idea,
that.
but that could change
Yeah.
because the positions.
Every project is different too.
So one of the things they had mentioned when they were in the meeting with us was that they knew that they had actually gone through and got an approval, but it was old, and that they were, it is fair to say that you basically said, hey, you're gonna use that as a roadmap, but you were basically just starting the process fresh to get clean through, get everything approved, and move forward. But having an idea of what could get approved before gives you a good place to start.
Exactly. It seemed a little too complicated to go back to permits for a different use from 5 years ago and try to amend those and kind of fall back into that. We thought just reapplying would be cleaner and simpler.
so is there any architecturals on the building?
We do. We have building plans. I don't know if they're in your packets.
I don't see them on the package. Well, black and white, but,
We have black and white ones. Okay, you do have them.
yeah,
It's a single-story building,
Right.
one tenant.
okay. Siding is wood, masonry,
Let's see.
Wood on metal panels.
Wood siding.
I'm just looking for the components of the outside,
Yep. Yeah, it's wood siding.
okay? So the one major thing that we need to discuss, and since the gentleman is here, is the agreement. You don't have to discuss it with us. We just need a signed agreement between the two parties
Sure.
stating that this is allowable. We've had a couple of other projects where we were told it wasn't in writing, and it delayed the project by 1.5 years.
Yeah.
It's
No,
very recently. it is.
I think that's a reasonable
Yeah.
request.
So it's just that all parties get along. If you're relying on something that he has or something that you have, that vice versa, and then for some reason there's an argument and then it gets shut down. and then you got a big problem. So we'd like to see it all done up in front, if you agree with them and they agree with you. But if you guys can work that out on your own, just sign a letter to the board stating that this is acceptable, then we can move forward.
Sure. We'll
So
do that.
normally what we do on a night like tonight, we vote in a peer review consultant. At the same time, Todd can talk to the wetlands commissioners, see what they require. And if they're gonna do it, or we're gonna do it, and this way, it's only a one-time shot, so.
Sure.
So stormwater could be its own specific peer
Yeah.
review? So the board, if they were looking for other review, can do that?
That's up to the conservation committee, we have no authority
No.
over what they're voting.
No, it's just asking if one board's doing one,
Yeah,
and then I'd be.
It's two different.
Yep, no, it's,
because they normally dump it back here, that's what has happened to us.
I will confirm one
Yeah.
way or another, and it needs a review. I just like them to not have to do two, and I'd like them to get
Sure.
it going and make sure it's kind of up and going properly.
So
Don't
typically
disagree.
what we do, we would take a vote tonight to vote in a peer review, and then we would have them give an estimate, we send the plans to them, they'd give an estimate of what they, project that it would cost to review everything. And then, once they review it, they'll send you comments, then you would, you answer
We
those
would
comments, you
revise
go back
that.
and forth, yep, it kind of goes back and forth a little bit. And that's how we get through the process. Once we get the estimate from them, the quote, then I could forward it, or one of us will forward it to you, or whoever's gonna be the point person.
Yeah, I'm generally gonna be the point person,
Okay, so if you wanna reach out and send an email to me or to the chair.
Okay.
And then we can get that quote to you. The faster we get that quote to you and you guys agree, then you would bring a check in, and then that process starts like immediately.
Okay.
Starts going through the plans and the peer review stuff.
Great, yeah, it makes sense to me.
Okay,
I know you guys have been waiting for this and you're anxious to get going, so,
It's been a long process.
yes, I agree.
they all are.
The one other comment, so they're hoping to get construction going this summer. And then that's part of why they're starting now, to try and get ahead of the construction season.
So it's my understanding that there is a foundation still in the ground there?
Yes.
So Mike, the building commissioner, will be able to instruct you whether you can start that now or not. The thing that we may require is a trucking plan.
Okay.
You've done no borings or anything up here?
There actually was borings done by the previous property owner.
Do you
It
have
should be
those?
listed on the plan, yes.
Okay.
Yep, they're on there.
Because it's a very rocky site.
Yeah, they hit some rock
Yeah.
once they went down a
Okay.
good amount, but thankfully we're high enough above it, so.
Okay.
So it's.
The building's gonna be a slab too, so not
Okay.
too deep going into the ground.
Still gotta get a 4-foot footing.
Yes.
though, yeah. So I'll ask for a motion from the board to take a vote on the peer review consultant.
I make a motion to get a quote from Tetra Tech for the peer review.
I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. So we'll have Tetra Tech get us a quote.
Okay.
Jeannie or Nancy will get it off to you. And
Do I have your email? Is it on anything?
I can give you my card if that works.
Yeah, that will work.
Thank you.
Thank you. And is there anything else? Does anybody here want to speak? No?
I guess I would ask the board if you just have any feedback or thoughts on the site in general, that we can
at this
incorporate.
present time, you've done a great presentation for what you got. Something that I have agreed with the engineers is that we get Lynn involved
Yes.
on this 20-inch easement.
Mm.
It appears that this water line doesn't stay within the easement, it runs across your property, so, God forbid you hit that, we flood out Route 1, it's a 20-inch water line.
No, I try not to do that.
No, exactly, but it happens, trust me.
No.
Nothing other that earth-shattering at this point, we need the radius for the fire department.
Okay.
That engine has to be able to pull in the lot, make a complete turn and come back out, and it's the largest apparatus.
Yeah, if we could get whatever dimensions of what that is.
Yeah.
You need to call the fire department.
Fire department.
Fire
Okay.
prevention will
Right, I'll ask
help
them.
you
Right.
along. Kevin?
One thing, and I had read the ZBA minutes, there was talk about the sign and how far it could or couldn't be from the road, and I did read in chapter 21, it's within planning board to look at the front sign, so I don't know exactly what will steer that, but just to point out, they're showing the sign 5 feet off the edge of the property.
What is
I don't
it?
know the dimensions or who would actually approve the,
They would be in
Sign.
B2. Normally, the ZBA approves signage.
and how did it get left in your understanding? And
We asked for I think, 10-foot setback for the sign. It's been a little confusing. I have not found in the zoning bylaw a specific regulation that says you have to be X amount of feet back.
If you reach out to the building commissioner, Mike Levecchia, he can help guide you through
Okay,
the process. Because
but-
it can get a little confusing, but he's pretty knowledgeable in that area, so
Okay.
he can help give you some guidance
All right.
on a lot of the things. So have you been in touch with him yet?
We spoke to him when we were going to the zoning board kind of early on, so I can reach back out and kind of iron through that.
So this is a public meeting. It appears we have no one in the audience that would like to speak in favor or against this project.
Are you guys all done? Because I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing
Okay, that's good.
until your meeting on March 18th.
With
So you
conservation.
wouldn't
Yep.
probably be ready for the 19th, but you may want to come in and discuss peer review, or do you want to let peer review get started? Because you don't have to come before peer review. Once we get the quote, and I send it to you, if you agree, they send a contract, the town manager signs the contract, you guys drop off the check, they get started. Most likely, you guys aren't going to be ready on the 19th. I think we meet again on the 19th.
I would be
Is that-
impressed if we had the peer review in hand by the 19th. I feel like it usually takes a couple weeks,
We'll push them.
you know.
Yeah, yeah, well, if we get the quote right away
Yeah.
and they get started, yeah, they usually at least put something to you in 2
Okay.
weeks, but then you gotta respond to that.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing maybe the first week in April, we may be ready to come back in. We just don't wanna waste your time everybody
Yeah.
coming in, and if we're not ready to
That makes sense
move
to
yet.
me.
So you wanna tentatively, schedule you for the first week in April. Phil, what's that date? We'll continue till April, it's the first and third Thursday.
April 2nd.
April 2nd?
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to continue to April 2nd.
Nancy, is that our next meeting? Is April 2nd? First meeting,
First and third.
April 2nd?
And then if for some reason you guys don't feel ready, just send Nancy an email saying you're requesting a continuance, and then
Okay.
we can put it to the 3rd. But we do meet the 1st and 3rd Thursdays of every month.
Okay, great.
So we can get a better idea where we're at
Sure.
that time.
All right,
Okay.
yeah, that
So
works.
at this time, I make a motion to continue to April 2nd.
Okay. We have a motion to continue to April 2nd. Can I get a vote?
He seconded.
Oh, he did? All right.
I'll
Motion is approved, 4-0.
gotta vote it.
Oh, I thought he did it.
No, he seconded it, now call the vote.
Can I
All in
get-
favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
You predicted it.
Thank you, we'll see you in April.
Thank you.
Bring some
Have a
warm
good night.
weather back with you, please.
I know what you want to do. Not on the agenda.
Mr. McCormick, do you want to,
Hammer out some of these conditions?
come to the podium? Just introduce yourself again at the podium.
My name is Sean McCormick, and I am the attorney for the applicant here, Granville at Saugus. So the last email we got had like 14 points. I think like 12 of them can get answered in 1 or 2 seconds, and then I think the other points are about the red line of the as-built, and I think I'm just not understanding what the what the holdup is. There are two, I think, there are like two areas where the curbs are, off, a foot or so. And that's it. The red line looks the way that it does because everything else is dead on for the, the approved plan and the as-built. So that's why the red line, I think you look at it and you're like, oh, it's all one color. Because except for those two little curb areas, that's it. Those are the changes.
And that was the concern, was it actually surveyed? Because the notes on the red line also say the red is actually not a survey. The red is the design plan pasted over the survey.
So it's the,
And most recently, we noticed the number of units that were on the as-built weren't even correct. So we're just trying to deliver an accurate product to the board. And, as recent as last week, those revisions were made. And it's really, I wasn't prepared to have this discussion tonight after, a pretty quick response to a recent submittal. And we haven't received a response from that, but.
You brought up the fact that we shouldn't have to, I guess I don't believe we should be having to spend this much time looking at a plan to figure out what's going on. I thought my belief was the red lines are supposed to be your chance to say, hey, we had some changes. Then you have a narrative to say, this change was here, we moved the trees around for this reason, we took the trash barrels out for that reason. These are things, we moved the electric, the transformer pads around for this reason. So we kind of have, so we have an approved set of plans, and then you throw the red lines on top of that, and the red lines show you very clearly where things moved, where things changed, and then you have your chance to say, hey, this changed, this moved, and then we have a document that shows us how we got from the approved plans to what was constructed on the site. We're counting parking spots and all that. Every time we start looking at stuff, we find stuff. But that's what the red line is supposed to make it so I don't even have to look. I just look down and like, oh, the line moved here. These trees are moved. This thing is moved. This has got removed. I shouldn't have to spend this much time. And every time I look at something, I find more problems. It makes me assume that there's more problems.
so the red line shows that you've got two variances on those curbs, and that's it. Things like
What about the
benches, trash cans, those are not site plan approval things, that's furniture. The
transformers?
red,
Yeah, I'm not
the
debating.
transformers are shown on the as-bills.
But they weren't on,
Again, if I may speak, sir. I'm not talking about this project, I'm talking about general. There's been in construction for 52 years, just so you understand. There are always changes on the construction.
and this is supposed to show a record of what those changes
Yeah,
are.
and I know that Mr. Salzman told many times, just bring them to us. If they're minor, just keep going, we'll decide at the board level. But
And
no one's
most
come back to this
recently,
board.
the engineers used the term substantial compliance. And that's a completely different argument in my view, so I don't have a grip on what, call it percentage or variation, the board can hold an approval to. I'm not saying it's not substantially complete. I've just been pointing out some things, so I know we've gone a couple minutes here, so that's just to give some of our perspective.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
The parking spaces, that's a new thing that came up, that there's 10 less parking, and you're still within the zoning, you still have plenty of parking. It was,
So-
plenty of parking that meets the requirements. But I just have a question. When they took those 10 spots out, what did they do with that space in lieu of those 10 parking spots?
I don't know, but we're talking about reconfiguring interior parking spaces, not exterior parking spaces. That would be shown on a site plan. So yeah, they lost a few parking spaces in two of the buildings.
Underneath?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the parking lot, and you can see it on the red line, the parking lot, the as-built and the approved plan, they line up, except for those two tiny curb variances, they line up exactly. So that's sort of the hang up on our end. We're like, look, you know, they reconfigure the inside of their properties, but you know, site plan doesn't govern the inside of buildings. We're still within zoning compliance by like 100 spots. I think about 100 spots more than zoning requires.
And then my next question was the total number of units. I know that changed from one building to another, but the total number, that's what we're concerned with. The total number is the same, correct?
Yeah, total number
It's
of
the same.
units
One of my
is,
questions here is, can you just confirm how many bedrooms? Because if you change the number of units, I want to make sure that the number of, so on my side, I don't actually care about the number of units. I care about bedrooms.
yep, number of bedrooms is,
And that's one of the things on my list that no one responded to.
right, so, but,
So under our densities, just so you understand.
so number of bedrooms is 335.
Okay, so you're certifying that.
Yeah, and they have, you know, when they,
Wait 1 second, so you said 335?
335.
Okay, so that's different than what was on, I'm not saying it's bad or different, I'm saying I took the decision and I compared the decision to what we have, and if I see things that don't agree, I'm supposed to say, hey, this doesn't agree, and then there's follow-up.
Sure,
And the II fee was paid based off
350,
6.
right.
So
And
that may be even
so-
over then.
So we overpaid on the II, and yet DPW hasn't signed off on it yet. That's not in our control. I mean, they've had, you know, that was submitted years ago. And, you know, the copy I have, it doesn't have the town signature on it, but that,
And we're working to get that, and part of it was confirming.
Right.
you know, the
let's-
checks that we wrote for that were cashed in 2022. So 4 years.
Well,
I don't see what your point is, sir.
But
So
the
project
point
came
is-
to an- You're bringing the project to an end.
Right.
We asked you to confirm the number of bedrooms, and so we're going through the book. How do we close it out? We go through each item. So I looked at you had the IIP sheet there.
Yep.
So now that we're at the end, as you're telling me you're at the end, we said, how many units do you have? You confirmed it, right now. And then now I'd report that confirmation to the DPW director, and you'd get it signed. But that's a closeout process. So I went through our list of items, and I'm checking the boxes off as we get them. You didn't wait 4 years for this. I mean, this is closeout, that's what we do at closeout.
Sure, okay. So, there was a comment on the sign permit, which is a separate permit. It's not part of site plan review.
Do you mind just, because I'm trying to check it, I have this sheet in front of me. Do you mind telling me which number you're
Yeah,
on?
item 4.
Okay,
It says approval document needs to be signed and resubmitted. This is referring to a signage permit, not the site plan approval. And again, I think this is the building commissioner's office.
I'm not saying it's not, I'm just saying we went through the documents and made a list. So your response, so I see peer review come in. Peer review sends a list of questions over. We respond, they respond. As the questions get answered, you check them off until there's either nothing or a point where you need to discuss it with the board. So to try and get things closed off, we made a list. And you're answering them now, which
Sure,
would
let's
be
keep,
easier.
let's keep going then.
So, so that was item number 4.
Yep.
You're saying it doesn't fall into the board and, okay?
Item number 7, confirm bedroom count, we did that. Item 9, irrigation plan. So first of all, there is no irrigation in the, next to Longwood. And
Doesn't the board decision require irrigation on the entire site for outdoor?
I don't believe it does.
I'm pretty sure it does, which is why I commented on it here. I mean, we literally took the decision, and so if you look at item 9,
And that may have been additional plants, but I was also
and it might not be a big deal.
thinking we have, if there are changes on the board decision, we memorialize that. You know, so if this one area didn't get irrigation because it was added later on, then that's an explanation.
Did you just bring it to the board, you ask for relief, and you give us a narrative, and then the board does what the board does.
Did you already discuss, I was reading something, sorry. Did you guys already discuss the landscaping, the
No, so,
plans that, the trees that were moved?
no, that's further down.
Okay, sorry.
But, I mean, you wanna jump, if you wanna jump ahead to trees.
No, we'll stick to the list, I'm
I prefer
sorry.
going in order.
Yeah, we'll go in order, sorry.
Sure.
That's my fault, sorry.
So I mean, the answer is there's no irrigation in that area. The package that we submitted back in January,
Is it required for
the binders,
conditions?
that there be irrigation in that area, no.
No, I believe it's irrigation is required in the entire site.
Show me that condition.
Okay, do you have a condition in front of you, condition 9?
All landscaped areas and planters shall be fully irrigated with an automatic watering system.
So that would be the entire site, right?
Well, it says all landscaped areas and planters.
That's a landscaped area, right?
All right, so if
And if there's no irrigation there, then you tell us there's no irrigation there, give us a narrative of why it's not, and submit it to the board for approval or not approval. I don't know if that's a big deal or not, and it's not my decision to make. I'm supposed to say, hey, this doesn't look quite right, let's resolve it, let's get it memorialized. So in the end, anything that changes, we're supposed to be able to say, this is why it changed, this is when it changed, and this is why it changed. And I'm trying to do that.
All right, fair enough. I'll get you an answer on irrigation.
Okay, so that's still open. Item 10. I think you guys resolved that, but I'm not sure if that's whatever. That's just noted. I've been out there and the snow isn't there anymore. Let's see. So item 11. On your as-bills, you have a note that says that the underground utilities can't be certified.
Sure. So
I don't see how that can be resolved because you can't really dig things up. It is in the requirements that you're certifying where the utilities are. I guess I would advise you to, that would be another thing that you want to say to the board, that you can't dig them up and ask, you want to try and find a path forward because I personally don't see a way to like resolve that.
So there was extensive.
All right, do you have something certified by a surveyor saying that they're in the elevation?
We have certifications that everything was built to according to plan, and we have.
Well, your plan, it does a disclaimer that says that you're not certifying the underground utilities. It literally has a note that says that.
Okay.
I see your point where I don't see how we can resolve it. So that would be a narrative of, I don't want to make things up because it's not my place to make things up, but maybe, okay, I guess this got missed. The board, and have something for the board to discuss, and then move forward.
Chairman McCormick, may I speak on that, please? I'm just trying to help you out. There is a way of doing it by heat detection. So you can do it, that's all I'm saying.
Well,
If it's gonna help them,
The surface features have all been,
and what the plan also says is that they own everything on the interior, so.
So it might be overkill.
Right,
And
that's
that
what I'm
would be
saying.
something.
In their favor, I'm saying, that's what
Yep,
I'm
and
saying.
that's what they put in the narrative.
Yep.
And then
It's a
you
private
give that to the
development,
board.
ultimately it's on them.
Right, and that seems reasonable to me.
Yeah.
But if you give me a plan that says you're not certifying it, and the order, and the decision says you have to, I'm supposed to say,
Understood.
so did you,
But so we're talking about. I mean, we're talking about.
I guess I'm trying to say, I think that can get crossed off with a narrative to the board.
That was one of our conditions?
Yeah.
So for the site plan approval, they have these conditions, they've agreed to them, so that is part of the approval for the site plan. If there's a condition, does have to be met, we do have the right to see that that's done. So keep going.
So I think there's a path forward on that one, but I mean, it's we're beating that to the death. Okay, so that's still open. 16, that's, oh, don't get me started on the SWIPs. So your SWIP is out of date and you need to submit it for review. In the original SWIP, you're supposed to be submitting them every year, and they need to get updated and they need to be approved, the update needs to be approved basically by me or Kevin. So I can tell you, it hasn't happened.
So are we talking about the operations and maintenance?
That's not under us, that's under you.
Right, so that, and that's fair to say, so that might not be something that's required for the board, but that was in the conditions. It'd be item, whatever says in item 16. That's why I put the item numbers in, to make it very easy to go from one to the other.
Sure, but my understanding was that that was submitted to the appropriate department more than 30 days ago.
So,
Who did that go to? Was that you?
they have submitted stuff back and forth, and we are going through the process of going through the stormwater bylaw permit. So that's not complete, we are actively working on that. Literally, there was email sent on that today about, because we've got we've got the consultant on board. The consultant sent us an email saying that you guys, that they need the ports, you guys need to ensure that the ports are, don't have cars on it and don't have snow. I forwarded to Rick, I believe Rick sent something back towards the end of the day. So when you say 30 days, I can literally tell you, I was working on that today.
Look, I saw it. I guess my concern on this one is that the operation and maintenance of the stormwater system is an ongoing obligation, right? The owner has to do that forever.
So I would advise you, we've now talked about several items that you'd be putting a narrative, and if, a narrative together saying that you don't think that you're addressing my items, and this is the way you want to address it, and you could even put an item in there that you feel confident that would get resolved as part of the stormwater bylaw permit.
But that was the response that we gave back in January. And
Well, so there was a SWIP included, and some of the issues I've seen with the site is that ownership changed. So the SWIP still had the prior contractor, Caruso's name as the responsible party. You know, where we are where we're at, whether that needs to be updated as a closeout document.
But they
I can see your argument that
they have to submit a new an O&M every year, right? Like, that's the obligation. Is here's our operations maintenance, and this is, when we're gonna do inspections and cleanouts and all that stuff. Here's a responsible party, here's that. That's the ongoing obligation. And that, it's, my understanding is that has been updated with, the new owner, or not the new owner, but to take off the contractor, add the owner, and has been submitted.
And
I just wanted to double check.
we're actively going through the process of getting that approved and actually closing out the stormwater bylaw permit for the entire project.
So is it safe to say this one is being addressed? If they sent it, you just haven't gone
And that's-
through it yet? we
Well, no,
can move
that's,
on to the next
what
one?
I'm saying, what I was trying to say was, that would be something that you would put in, so we've got a list of a couple items where you're be presenting a narrative to the board of, that you feel this item would be addressed through the stormwater bylaw permit, and I would agree with that in a meeting, and then that thing's checked off, and you move on to the next item. I feel like there's a path forward, I don't know why we're like, and I feel like I kind of threw a path forward out there, but we're still discussing it. Okay, so I guess I believe item 16 has a path forward and a clear path forward. Item 18 that's paperwork, it's not the biggest of deals, it's just.
But again, item 18, I think, is not a planning board item,
Okay, then put it in the
Unless it was a
narrative.
condition. But
here's the
I don't know
problem,
what
is that you
document
keep
you're talking
asking us about things that are not in the board's jurisdiction, and then saying, well, but you're not giving us an answer. Well, I don't have to give you an answer, it has nothing to do with the
If it was made as a
question.
part of a condition,
So
then it
what
is the board's
does item 18
jurisdiction.
say?
Item 18 is asking for an up-to-date.
No, in the order of conditions,
Do you have it in front of you? Why don't you just read it?
I wasn't expecting this. I sent this email to try and give
So
you guys a chance to
I'll just say this,
address it, and they said,
I'll
"No, wait."
apologize for this. The letter did say he was coming, but you were not on the agenda, so we were not prepared for you. So instead of keeping everybody here all night, why don't we agree this? I mean, we can keep going through the list and you can make some notes and then just send something back. Let's try to hash this out so before the next meeting, we can get you guys to the finish line.
And Todd
There's
did
a couple
offer.
things.
And I did
they
also
come
call
into
last
our
Friday
office.
and offered to meet with you guys. So I sent the email and like, oh wow, this could be confusing. So I called Rick and said, hey, I just sent an email. If you want to meet, I'll make myself available. Call me back.
It's easier probably to do that and hash it out and then get these things done, so then we can give you the approval.
All right, but I just, again, I'm gonna push back on this a little bit, because it's not our obligation to answer just any sort of question.
But it is your obligation to do this. Make sure that those plans meet exactly the way they say, the red line. You're saying they do, they're saying they're finding some discrepancies. So with their discrepancies, they're gonna bring them forward. If you guys sit down and you can have the conversation, hash it out, so we can get you where you need to go. We want this project done too. I mean, I do. I personally, I'll speak for myself, I'm so sick of hearing about 860 Broadway. I really, and I realize that they wanna close out. They also went a lot longer on their end. The delay for this project wasn't all on this end. They changed property managers, they changed owners, they did a lot of different things that kept delaying
His
it on
board
their
was
end.
originally told 22 months and they'd be able to do it. This
So,
is 5 years later.
well,
Okay,
well, I
but
do
what does
feel
that have
your
to do with
frustration.
anything? What does that have to do with anything?
No, we wanna get you where you need to go. We do. We wanna get you there. We did not realize you were coming tonight, or we probably
I
could
don't
have been
know,
trying
I
to
put it in
before.
writing.
You said, I'm coming. You're not on an agenda. You don't get to send a letter, say, I'm coming, be ready. That's
But
not
I
the
don't have
process.
I'm not,
You
I'm
reach
not
out to the
applying
chair
for a permit.
and our secretary, and you say, I'm requesting to be on your agenda. And then everybody has notice. You don't send a letter. I'm not even gonna lie. I read the first beginning of the letter, and then I went to them and said, what do we need to do to get this done? We had a meeting on Tuesday with the town manager. Let's get this done. Let's work together and get it done. So then the manager even told them, reach out to Rick Seville, figure this out. So that's what they did. And that's where we thought we were at. We did not know you were just gonna storm in and say, give us the approval. It's really, and I understand your frustration, I do. But that's not really how it works. So we're this close to getting there. So I think that if they can meet with him and you guys can just iron out a few of these things, the landscaping is under our purview, and that is a big deal. There's a lot of the landscaping's dead, and I understand we're not gonna hold up occupancy on that, but we are gonna probably require a bond or some assurance that when spring comes, those plants are replaced. There's a lot of
But
trees
again,
up there,
but that
and
is
there's
it.
a lot of
But
stuff.
there-
And now if
there's
there's no irrigation where there's supposed to be irrigation, are those plants gonna be dead once they're planted too? I don't know, I don't know.
There is no
Well, let's have the
question
conversations.
that landscaping is an obligation that is ongoing. You know, these things are seasonal. You have to make sure they last season after season.
They
You can't
they planted them in the dead of winter and they were dead immediately.
Sure,
So, I
sure.
mean, some of this
But
is
it
common
not
sense.
legally connected to occupancy. It is not one of those conditions.
It's
And this is the
Condition,
problem.
yeah, but if it was a condition, the conditions are. And they agreed to them. These are things that they agreed to.
Yeah,
And that's what happens at the beginning of the project. Once you agree to it, you don't get to say, yes, I agree to that, and then say, screw it, I just want my occupancy.
Yeah, no, it is a valid condition, but it is not a condition that is linked to occupancy. That is the problem with half
But we
the
wanna have
things on the
some
list.
conversations, we wanna have some assurances in there. We want some guarantees, like a bond or something.
So.
And that's not uncommon, we've done it before.
I guess I'm taking what she said. So I keep on talking about, make up a narrative, have something to present to the board. So come up with, make a list, and I unfortunately have had to, of how many trees that your own consultant has said is dead. Make a list of where things got moved, because stuff got moved around, what's dead, you already have, your own consultant's already reported on
And
what
that
stuff
is,
is
the
dead.
landscaping is part of the site plan. They have all these drawings, and that is
I'm not-
directly tied
I'm
to
not
that.
arguing with that.
But then, so then come up with an estimate or something to say, hey, we know that you're concerned about this. This is how we're going to make you comfortable with that this isn't gonna be an issue.
But
So that,
respectfully, you cannot withhold an occupancy permit because of a landscaping problem. You can take zoning enforcement because of a landscaping problem. Well, not you, but someone in the town can, but you can't withhold occupancy for it. And that's the problem, is that the property owner here is being, leveraged on withholding occupancy to get all these other non-occupancy related concessions or whatever.
no,
It's
these
not
aren't
appropriate.
concessions. These are things, I'm
Conditions.
literally referencing conditions by the board.
I
The planning board
understand that
decision,
they are
which I believe
conditions,
is-
but they're
that's a legal
not
document, right?
conditions
Yeah.
precedent to occupancy.
So we don't have that level of expertise that you have, so we're not really equipped to argue that point right now.
But my assumption is if it's in the planning board decision, and it doesn't line up, I report, it doesn't line up. And then you guys get a chance to say, well, that doesn't matter, or this is how we fixed it, or, oh, you missed something. But we have, I took the decision, I'm referencing the decision, and that's what I'm working off of. If that's not required for a building permit, then that would,
I guess we can have, because my understanding of our approvals are that the conditions have to be met. But if you're arguing that they don't, then maybe we, again,
Check with
we'll
our
have our,
attorney.
we'll have our council look at it and see exactly where we could be. It seems to me it would be a lot easier, there's only a couple of things here. There's only a handful of things here, is to just hash them out, get through them, do them before the meeting, do them, you guys can
I've already
meet.
offered
I know
to
you
meet.
offered to meet, and I know,
and I made a list of what I'm looking for. So it is, I can commit to, I won't be,
and even just an
I think
understanding of it, like the parking changed. So, like he said, just write a quick narrative, that the parking was underneath, it's not up top. The parking up top stayed the same. The fact that things were shifted around a little bit over here, now there was all landscaping, and now that whole area, when you pull up to the top is to the left, is different. Just maybe a little explanation of why it's different and why it doesn't line up. And if the board says it's not a big deal, and you get there. I mean, we're real close. That's why I said, everybody focus, they've been directed to focus all their attention on this, to get this done. So nobody's trying to hold it up, they're trying to get it done. There's just, like they said, there's a lot of, if they had the red lines right away, and a narrative like this changed because of this, it would have been a lot probably faster and easier. And you guys did provide those binders, I got a copy of them, those were fabulous, but again, they had to go
we
through them.
literally used those. We took the decision, we had the decision here, binder here, and the reason why this isn't longer is because you guys gave us the binder, and as we're flipping through the decisions, like, oh, here it is, okay, this thing is, so we literally took those binders and used them to knock off a whole bunch of things. And that's, if I show up at a site and the plans don't look right, that makes me say the plans don't look right. Then I was hoping what would happen is you guys say, hey, this change, that change, plans don't look right for these reasons. And then I can say, I can report it to the board, and then it just moves.
All right, I mean, my only thing was I just wanted the title, the parking spot explanation and the total unit count. What is the board, how's the board,
I'd like to consult with legal to see what would apply to occupancy.
okay. Rich, you
Yeah, I feel the same. I mean, the conditions
a condition that should be met, so.
Yeah, I
once
don't
we
really
verify
understand what
them
the point of making conditions and agreeing to them if you weren't to
My assumption was
do them, but.
for the board to approve it for occupancy, you have to meet the conditions or give some sort of assurances that they would be met.
Right.
And that's what I'm working off of. So when I see things that don't match the conditions, I'm supposed to say, okay, and, that might be giving the board a narrative, or there's lots of ways to resolve that, but I'm supposed to say, these are things that don't match up. Let's get them matched up, or get something attached to it, and then move it on.
All right.
Attorney,
I do think it's fair for you to say, hey, give me a list and that.
does he have a copy of this?
I don't know, I sent it to Rick.
Do you have a copy of
Yeah, I
this?
have it.
Okay, I'm trying to have this one point person over their side and then kind of figure it out from there, because I'm not sure of how their side works. I don't wanna send stuff to their attorney and then billable hours and whatever, send it to one point person. And like my issue or my question this morning about the observation ports, I sent it to Rick and the email said, hey, do you answer this? Or if not, can you get it to whoever does answer it? Because I think, this isn't one house, this is a big, all sorts of people involved. I don't know their organization.
You can keep emailing Rick.
Right.
Yep.
We're close. We're very close.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Does the board have anything else, or do you want an motion to
Looking for
adjourn?
the Meredith motion.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.